Okay, this is a follow-on video that everybody has requested on, Sam, what are the Australian-owned cheeses in our major supermarkets? And if you saw that video, the previous one, I went in there and found those brands, those Australian brands that we all think are Australian-owned, when in actual fact, they're not, they're foreign-owned. And there were actually 12 that I went in and quickly found. So here we have Australian-owned and Australian-made cheeses, and I tell you what, the representation is so dire. Check out this. That's right. Can you see how much red on those shelves is foreign owned? That is just unbelievable. Right, enough of the negative. Let's get into the positive and let's see how we can support Australian owned and Australian made cheeses in our major supermarkets. First up, Terrigo River, Shadows of Blue. It's the only one I could find of theirs. This is Australia's, I reckon, best blue. It's bloody beautiful. And yeah, that's a big, beautiful wheel, but it does actually come in small wedges. I just like that cheese. Yarra Valley Dairy, Victoria, beautiful cheese, Australian owned. Meredith Dairy, not too far from Yarra Valley, Australian owned, beautiful, beautiful. Now, Norco, a cooperative of Australian dairy farmers. I think it's about 233 dairy farmers that own Norco. Fantastic, Australian owned. Down in Tasmania, Ashgrove, been there, love the place, Australian owned. Riverina Dairy Co, New Kids on the Block, a great consortium, Australian owned. And last but not least, Australia's favourite dairy brand, Bega. It's still about 50% farmer owned, but still also an Australian dairy company and great Australian brand. But there you have it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cheeses is all I could find on the shelves of a major Australian supermarket. It's just 7 cheeses. And I'll tell you what, the shelf space, as you can see, is pretty piss poor. What are we going to do about it? Well, look, we do have options. If you want to buy Australian made and Australian owned, you buy these brands. The more you buy these brands, the Coles and the Woolies of the world will buy more and more of that and put more shelf space to these particular brands. Our supermarkets are very much dominated by the large multinationals, and there's only one way to counteract it: by buying Riverina, by buying Yarra Valley, Meredith, Ashgrove, Bega, Norco, Terrigo River, and asking and demanding that we see more and more Australian owned cheeses. It's one thing to have Australian made, but those profits, as we all know, go offshore. We need to have greater representation than just 7 brands and minimal shelf space in our supermarkets. It's now your turn, Australia, to step up and buy Australian owned cheeses.